Before I get into this recipe of Dr. William Davis's from Supergut, we're making a coconut-based version of his El Reuteri yogurt. The El Reuteri is one of 3 strains he uses in the SIBO yogurt. They all have separate benefits. The El Reuteri in and of itself is amazing, and I want to talk about benefits. Not all, there's so many, but I'll talk about the highlights and why I think the whole world literally should be taking this yogurt. So Dr. Davis is basically in agreement with the tenets of Ayurveda as far as our health is determined by our gut. And there's been a lot of recent studies about the microbiome. That's where our immune system lies. It's also responsible for our mood, depression, anxiety. So Dr. Davis talks a lot about key microbes essential for optimal health. So he's identified El Reuteri as one of them. And I'm nearing 50, less than 2 months away. And one of the amazing benefits of El Reuteri is it's anti-aging. It can actually reverse wrinkles. It thickens the dermis of the skin. It enhances collagen production. It increases muscle mass without any change to diet or exercise. It stimulates oxytocin in the brain, so people have more tolerance, more empathy. And what he's found is up until the 70s, El Reuteri was ubiquitous. We all had El Reuteri in our system. And after the 70s, we've seen a decline and almost no one has El Reuteri anymore. Just a single round of antibiotics can rid us of key microbes essential for optimal health. Through this fermentation process, we double the number of key microbes every 3 hours for 36 hours, enabling us to get the necessary medicinal effects. This method also allows the microbes to take up residence in the small intestines. Probiotics in pill form cannot reach the small intestines and therefore cannot combat the overgrowth. I'm actually working on an essay about this, Broken Gut, Broken Society, about the rise in narcissistic traits and the loss of this keystone microbe. People have a low tolerance and walk around very irritable. Well, El Reuteri increases that bonding between humans, which is essential for a thriving civilization. For that reason alone, I think the whole world should be taking it. But it is definitely a key microbe for optimal health. I myself have made this a few times. I am making the coconut-based version today, and I'll give you an example of how it's worked for me immediately. So it killed my cravings for crap, basically. So I went to the mall. I don't go to the mall very often, but when I do, it's like Pavlov's conditioning, where I have to have the teriyaki chicken. And the teriyaki chicken is loaded with sugar and grease, and I was eating really clean that week, and I did not want to fall off of my healthy eating. And I just remember thinking it was going to be a struggle for me to go to the mall and abstain, because I don't think I've ever done that. I think every time that I've been to the mall, I've stopped. It's just part of the experience, and had my, I had to cough. This is actually the green tea clove hyssop concoction that I made you guys in the last video. And if you missed it, check it out. But this last time that I went to the mall, I had the yogurt and the cravings were not present. There was no temptation. It wasn't even a struggle. It was effortless. And I noticed that when I ran out of the yogurt, the cravings returned. So it's something that I should be doing consistently. And the reason for that is our cravings are not our cravings. Our cravings are the microbes in our GI tract that need to be fed sugar. So it's a cycle. They need the sugar, they need the yeast, and they're basically controlling your cravings. So when you flood your system with good microbes, they're combating the dysbiosis, and your cravings will change. I started having cravings for kiwi and mango and healthy things. So the other thing it does is it suppresses the appetite. I'm not trying to suppress my appetite. If anything, I'm trying to eat more, but I know that this is something that a lot of people have an issue with. So this makes it pretty easy. I know when I'm eating the SIBO yogurt, I don't really want more than 2 meals a day, honestly. It also heals leaky gut. It increases bone density. And like I said, I've made both versions of the yogurt, the coconut based and the dairy based. And the reason why I'm making the coconut based today is 2 reasons. And these are the rules from Ayurveda about incompatible eating. And I know a lot of people are gonna just come at me. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. I didn't make up the rules. This is just how it goes in the Vedic text over 5,000 years ago. And I listen to the rishis now because they knew the speed of light before we had a microscope. They knew the embryonic stages of development before we had the sonogram. They just knew some things. And anytime I think, and I start to question it, I learn sometimes years later that they were right. And so I just give a lot of reverence now to the tenets in the Vedic text. So in Ayurveda, we never mix dairy with fruit. Dairy takes a long time for the body to process and digest. Fruit digests very quickly, and the fruit is staying in your system longer than it should be, and that creates what we call ama, or toxicity in the system. And you might not have ever felt any immediate ill effects from it, but this is cumulative. And it can create congestion that accumulates in the tissue. And if you're trying to heal, if you're trying to do this for health purposes, I would just refrain from mixing dairy with fruit. The other reason why I'm doing coconut based today is because I like to have yogurt in the evening. And in Ayurveda, we do not eat yogurt in the evening because, like I said, it takes a long time to digest. You want to wake up feeling refreshed. You don't want to wake up feeling lethargic. So if you eat anything heavy in the evening, I've personally noticed a difference. I don't feel that way with the coconut yogurt. It is also what we call kapha vitiating, but in my opinion, in my experience, it's lighter than the dairy version. The process takes less than 5 minutes. You will need 3 cans of full-fat coconut milk, organic, no fillers or preservatives, 1 tablespoon of inulin powder, 1 1/4 teaspoons of sugar, 1 1/4 teaspoons of guar gum. Thoroughly emulsify everything before adding the starter. The BioGaia brand is the brand Dr. Davis recommends. Just ensure whatever strain you purchase is a single strain. Anything with multiple strains will compete with the Reuteri and inhibit the therapeutic effects. This is the brand I inadvertently purchased. Do not purchase this brand. Once you've mixed and covered your yogurt, put it in the yogurt maker at 99 degrees for 36 hours. Be sure to consider the time the yogurt will be ready when you're done. If you start the yogurt at 8 p.m., it'll be ready at 8 a.m. a day and a half from that time. Exceeding the appropriate time will kill off the beneficial microbes. After it's finished, you want to put it in the fridge for a good 6 to 8 hours before consuming. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know if this video moved you to try it. Please support the channel, subscribe, like, comment, share so I can continue to do this work. Thank you.